The cry from the trash filled planet Drovius was not known for life. It was known for garbage. Mountains of it. Broken machines, poison barrels, plastic, metal, food waste. All from rich planets across the galaxy, and at the bottom of it all were the workers. Yannick, a human, worked in garbage zone 17. He wore a ripped cloth over his mouth to block the smell. His hands were always dirty. His back hurt. His left foot limped from an old wound. He was not a prisoner, but he was not free. Either. Humans like him had no home in this part of space. They worked because it was better than starving. They were called filth touchers by the alien guards. They were not trusted, not respected, not liked, but Yannick never spoke back. He just worked. Every morning, he woke when the first sun rose. He dragged metal, sorted wires, and pushed heavy bins with aliens from many species. They were all poor, all broken in some way. One morning, just after the second sun began to rise, Yannick heard something strange. A scream, not loud, not angry, but full of fear. Please, someone help. She's in there. Please, anyone. Yannick looked up from a broken robot he was tearing apart. The voice came from the north wall, where the garbage trucks dumped new waste. A tall alien woman with blue skin and long braids stood near a huge pile of trash. Her hands shook. Her eyes were wide. She cried out again, "My daughter. She's trapped under the pile. She fell in." Workers nearby looked at her, then looked away. A few stepped back. A guard laughed. "Let her cry. No one survives in there," the guard said. "If the weight doesn't crush her, the gas will choke her." Yannick watched. The mother dropped to her knees. "Please, help her." No one moved. Yannick took a slow breath. Then he stepped forward. "You," said the guard. "What do you think you're doing?" Yannick didn't answer. He took off his outer shirt and walked toward the trash pile. The mother turned. Shocked. Double quotes, "Please," she whispered. "She's only 10. Her name is Ciala. She went to look for clean parts." The pile fell to fast. Yannick nodded once. He walked into the garbage. The smell hit him first. Worse than anything. Rotten food, burning wires, chemical leaks, all mixed together. His feet sank into soft, wet filth. He used his hands to pull himself forward. Metal. Bits cut his skin. He ignored it. He moved fast, but careful. He didn't call her name. Sound moved strange in garbage piles. Instead, he listened. Then, a small cough. Very weak, but real. He moved faster, pushing aside broken crates and sticky wires. "Stay alive," he whispered. "Just stay alive." He found her hand first. Small, covered in black slime, but moving. "I've got you," he said softly. She didn't answer, but her fingers wrapped around his. Yannick pulled with everything he had. The trash was heavy. It fought him. A sharp contour his arm. A pipe bent his shoulder. He didn't stop. Inch by inch, he lifted her out. Her leg was hurt, maybe broken. He placed her on his back and crawled. It felt like hours. Maybe it was. But finally, the sunlight hit his face. He stumbled out of the pile, holding the girl. The worker stared. The guard's smile faded. The mother ran forward and fell to her knees. "Ciala. Ciala." Yannick gently passed the girl to her. "She's breathing," he said, "but get her clean fast. The gas can burn her lungs." The mother cried and held her close. "Thank you. I don't know how to repay you." Yannick just nodded, then sat down in the dirt. His arms shook. His body was numb. His eyes burned. But he smiled. She was alive. Why did he help? Yannick sat on the cold ground, breathing slow. His arms were cut. His legs ached. Black slime covered his clothes. But he didn't care. Ciala was alive. The blue-skinned mother held her daughter close. Others began to gather round. Some stared at Yannick. Some whispered. He went in alone. No one else moved. A human. Why? The alien guard stood still. One of them, tall and gray, walked forward and kicked the ground near Yannick. "Get up," the guard barked. "You were not told to enter the pile. You disobeyed." Yannick slowly stood. He wiped dirt from his face. But he said nothing. "You were lucky she lived," the guard said coldly. "But don't play hero again." The crowd was silent. Yannick looked at the guard, then looked away. He walked back to his workstation and picked up a broken wrench. He had work to do. Ciala wakes up later that night in the small medical tent. Ciala opened her eyes. Her breathing was shallow. Her chest was wrapped. But she was safe. Her mother smiled with tears. "You're here," she whispered. "You made it." Ciala blinked slowly. "The man. He found me. Yes. He was hurt. Why did he help me?" Her mother looked down. "I don't know. But she would find out." The whisper spreads in the next few days. Something changed in Zone 17. Workers who never looked at humans before began to glance at Yannick. Some even nodded quietly when he passed. One alien offered him a slice of dried fruit. Yannick didn't speak much. He kept his head low. He still worked alone, but his silence now felt different. He wasn't invisible anymore. A visit in the darkened evening. As the second sun set, Yannick sat near the filled drums. He dipped a cloth into a water barrel and wiped his wounds. A soft voice spoke behind him. "You didn't have to save her. It was the mother." She stood holding a small cloth bag. Yannick looked at her. "No," he said. "I didn't. So why?" He didn't answer at first. Then said, "Because she screamed." And no one else moved. The mother sat down beside him. "We are taught not to help, not to risk." "I know," Yannick said, "but I'm not from here." She opened the cloth bag and handed him a small bottle. "Healing cream. It will help. The cuts." He took it. Quietly. His reason. Next day, one of the alien workers, a thin, green-skinned male named Uruk, walked with Yannick during break. "I heard what you did," Uruk said. "Not many humans would do that." "Maybe they would," Yannick replied. "Maybe they just never got the chance. You could have died." Yannick nodded. "But I didn't." Uruk looked at him. "You're different." "I'm the same," Yannick said softly. "I just remember things others forget." "Like what?" Yannick paused. "Like what it feels like to be trapped, to scream and hope someone hears." A memory of Earth at night. Yannick stared at the stars above. He thought of Earth, broken, far away. He thought of his little sister, Mila. She had once been trapped under rubble during a bomb strike. Yannick had been too late. He had carried her body out, not her breath. Since then, he had made a silent promise, never walk past a scream again. The guards grow cold. The rescue story spread beyond. Zone 17. Guards didn't like it. They saw workers whispering too much, smiling when Yannick passed, slowing down their work to speak. One guard slapped a worker just for speaking to Yannick. "He's not a hero," the guard barked. "He's just trash like the rest of you." But something had already changed. Yannick had shown something they hadn't seen in years. Human courage. Without reward. The child returned. Ciala, now healing, walked with her mother to find Yannick. She wore a brace on her leg, but stood tall. "Hello," she said shyly. Yannick looked up from a pile of scrap. "You're walking," he said with a small smile. Double quotes. "Yes, because of you." He didn't speak. She held out a small metal flower. "I made this," she said. "It's not much, but thank you." He took it. For the first time in many years, his eyes became wet. Forgotten kindness. Garbage piles of Drovius kept growing. Every day, new ships dumped broken machines and spoiled food, and every day, Yannick worked quietly between the waste and wires. But something had changed. When Ciala returned to school, she told the other children about the human who saved her. Some didn't believe her, others listened, wide-eyed. "He didn't even ask my name," she said. "He just pulled me out." A guard's warning gone morning. A thick bodyguard named Thruk stopped Yannick near the tool station. "They're talking about you," Thruk growled. "Too many whispers. The bosses don't like it." Yannick kept working. "You think saving one child makes you important?" Thruk asked. Yannick didn't look up. "No. I think saving one child makes her important." Thruk's jaw tightened. "You'll be transferred if you keep this up, and trust me, you don't want to go to the furnace sector." The old picture that night. Yannick returned to his small sleeping box. The walls were metal. There was no bed, only a folded mat. He opened a tin box from under the floor. Inside was a small photo, dusty, wrinkled. A girl in a red coat smiled back at him. His sister, Mila, from Earth, long before the war, before the bombs, before the sky fell. He remembered her laugh, her fear when she got stuck under the old fence, how he pulled her out. But later, in the city ruins, he was too late. She had screamed. He had heard, but rubble was heavy. By the time he found her, she was gone. He swore that night, under the smoke-filled sky, "I will never walk away again," helping quietly over the next few days. Yannick began to help more. Not loudly, not with pride, But when a young alien dropped a crate, he helped lift it. When an old worker fainted from heat, Yannick shared his water. When tools broke, he fixed them without charge. Others began to notice. He's different. He's not like the guards said. He helps without asking anything. Even workers who once feared him began to trust him. A dark eye watching, but not all eyes were kind. High above the garbage zones, in a tall glass tower, a gray alien named Commander Reith watched the screen. Yannick's image played again and again. He interfered. Then he inspired. Reith said coldly, "Humans should not inspire." Another alien beside him nodded. "Shall we remove him?" Reith tapped the glass. "Not yet. Let them admire him first. Then let them see him fall." A quiet, lesser-known evening. The alien children approached Yannick near the wire fields. "Mister," one said, "what do we do if trash falls again?" Yannick looked up. "You listen for the soft shift. Garbage speaks before it moves." He showed them how to move sideways instead of back, how to hold a metal pipe and slide under a falling piece. "You're teaching them?" a worker asked. Yannick nodded. "Garbage doesn't care what planet you're from, but maybe now. They'll survive longer than I did." A gift from the girl. Ciala returned again, her leg healing fast. This time she brought a book. "I drew pictures," she said, smiling, "of what happened, so no one forgets." Yannick opened the book. Childlike drawings showed him inside the garbage pile, holding her hand. One picture showed him smiling, something he didn't remember doing. "Thank you," he said softly. She nodded. "You look better when you smile. A choice is Madelator." A guard came to Yannick with an order. "Report to the furnace sector tomorrow. Permanent transfer." Yannick stared at the paper. He knew what it meant. People didn't come back from the furnace sector. He folded the paper and walked away. That night, as he sat by the water tank, Yurik approached. "They're punishing you." "Yes." "For saving a child." "No." "For reminding them what saving looked like." Yannick had no power, no title, no friends in high places, but his kindness had become dangerous, and the system was ready to silence it. Fire and rebellion. The furnace sector was the end of the line. Broken machines went there to burn. Toxic waste was melted. Nothing survived long in the heat. Not metal, not air, not hope. Yannick stood at the gate, holding a dull tool and a pair of heat gloves with holes in them. The sky above this sector was always dark. Thick smoke covered the sun. A guard pushed him forward. "You think you're a hero," the guard hissed. "Let's see how long you last in the fire." Yannick said nothing. He stepped into the furnace yard. Hell on ground was hot enough to blister skin through shoes. Flames burst from cracked pipes. Giant arms tossed scrap into burning pits. Workers moved like ghosts, silent, fast, tired. Most looked half dead. Yannick joined a group near Furnace 3. Their job, sort dangerous metal from recyclable scrap. With bare hands, the first star burned his fingers. The second made him cough blood. By the third, he couldn't feel his arms, but he didn't stop. He watched. He learned and he listened. A broken friend. Second day, he met a small worker named Pexa. Thin, green skin, shaky hands, but sharp eyes. Pexa coughed constantly. Her lungs were damaged. "You knew?" she asked, dragging a bin. "Yes," Yannick said. "Don't last long here." "Then help me last." She looked at him, surprised, then smiled a little. "Stay away from pit 6. It leaks acid." "Thanks," she nodded. "You helped the girl in zone 17, didn't you?" Yannick paused. "Yes." Pexa's voice dropped. "Then maybe you can help again." The old tunnel. That night, Pexa led Yannick behind a broken wall near the fuel tankers. She showed him a half-covered hole in the ground. "This used to be an escape tunnel," she whispered. "Old rebels dug it before they were caught. It's blocked now, but maybe not fully." Yannick crouched. "How many know about this?" "Only a few, but we're scared." "Why tell me?" "Because you saved someone, and we believe you're not like the rest." He begins to plan. Yannick worked all week in the furnace by day. At night, he dug, quietly, slowly, using small tools and a cloth to carry dirt. Pexa helped. Then one more joint, and another. By the 6th night, 5 workers were digging with him. They didn't talk much. They just worked. But one thing was clear. They were building a way out. Danger. Gross guards began to notice something. Less fear. More hope. That was dangerous. They checked sleeping quarters. They hit workers harder. They watched Yannick closely. Then one night, They caught one of the diggers, an old alien named Koruk. They dragged him in front of the workers. A guard shouted this. One tried to escape. He failed. Watch what happens to traitors. Koruk was beaten in front of them. Blood hit the dirt. No one spoke. But everyone watched Yannick. He stood still, face calm, eyes burning. A choice mad at that night. Yannick came forward to the guards. He said, "It was me, not him. I planned it." The guards looked at each other. Why admit this? Because I can't let others suffer for my choices. They threw him into the fuel pit, not into the fire, but into the deep waste room under the furnace. He landed hard. Bones cracked. Air disappeared. Darkness surrounded him. But Yannick smiled faintly, because while they locked him away, the others could finish the tunnel. A quiet rebellion recessed in the shadows of the camp. Ciala's mother heard whispers. Yannick was sent to the fuel pit. He took the blame, but he's still alive. She closed her eyes. And made a decision. She would go back. She would save the man who once saved her daughter. And this time, she wouldn't be alone. While they threw him into darkness to break him, something else was rising in the fire. Hope, rebellion, and a quiet plan to bring him back. The tunnel of wrist deep under Furnace Sector 7, Yannick lay in darkness. The walls were wet. His arms were tied. His head throbbed. The guards had thrown him down into the fuel pit, a deep room used to collect old oil and waste gas. Nowhere flowed here, only the drip of poison and silence. But Yannick was not afraid, not because he was strong, but because he had chosen this. Above the pit, Ciala's mother, whose name was Treya, moved quickly through Zone 17. She wore an old worker's coat and carried a small tool. Bagged inside it were maps, tools, a broken scanner. She met Pexa at the old water tank. "He's down there?" Treya asked. Pexa nodded. "Still alive, maybe, but not for long." Treya looked around. Others were gathering, young workers, older aliens, silent rebels. "Then we go now," she said, before they noticed what we're building. Finishing. The tunnel's secret tunnel was almost ready. After Yannick took the blame, digging had slowed. Many feared being caught, but Pexa spoke. "He gave himself to protect us. If we stop now, he suffers for nothing." Her voice was soft, but powerful. So they dug again. Deeper, faster. Treya used old codes to unlock sealed doors. Others mapped the paths above. By the third night, they reached the old ladder that led to the fuel pit. They looked down into blackness. "He's in there," Treya whispered. Meanwhile, in the pit, Yannick sat against a rusted wall. His skin burned. His breath was slow. But he stayed awake. He remembered Mila's voice. "Don't sleep, big brother. Tell me a story." So he told himself a story where he wasn't alone, where people came back for him, not out of duty, but choice. He laughed weakly. "Too much poison," he said. Then a sound, metal tapping. A small beam of light appeared above. "Yannick," a voice whispered. "We're here." He smiled. "Took you long enough. Rescue and return." Pexa climbed down first. Her thin arms held a rope. Treya followed, holding a light. Yannick tried to stand, failed. They pulled him up together. Slowly, carefully. It took an hour to reach the tunnel entrance again. When they did, Yannick collapsed, but his eyes stayed open. He looked at Treya. "You didn't run." She smiled. "I ran once, not again." The final plan. Back in the safe part of the tunnel, they treated Yannick's wounds. He spoke through coughs. "The guards will find the tunnel soon. If we don't act now, we never will." Treya nodded. "We move at first light. There's a path through the power ducts. It leads to the surface gate." "How many can go?" Pexa asked. "As many as can carry hope," Yannick said quietly. A spy among them. They didn't know a young worker named Norik had followed them days ago. Norik had told the guards everything. He now stood in the tower of Commander Wreath. "They'll escape tomorrow," Norik said. ETH smiled. "Good. Let them try." He looked at the cameras. "When they reach the gate, we'll be waiting. And this time, the human dies in front of everyone." Hope and Modionte rebels moved before sunrise. Over 30 workers, old, young, wounded, followed Yannick and Treya through the tunnel. They carried food, tools, each other. Yannick walked with a limp. His voice was soft, but when he said this way, they followed without fear. At the Gati tunnel opened near the edge of the trash zone, near the old surface gate. It was broken, rusted, but behind it lay the freelance, deep forest. No guards, no cages. They were close too. Close, because suddenly, sirens rang out. Lights flashed. Hundreds of guards appeared from both sides. Commander Reed stepped forward. His voice filled the air. Did you really think we'd let a human lead you to freedom? They came to escape, but found themselves surrounded, and once again, all eyes turned to the human, waiting to see what he would do next. Asterisk, the miracle return sirens echoed through the garbage valley. Red lights flashed on towers. Guards poured in from every side. The rebels froze. Old workers clutched tools. Young ones pulled back into shadows. Ciala hid behind her mother. Yannick stood in front, his arms slightly raised. Commander Reith walked forward. His voice was cold. You thought you could escape. You followed a human, and now you'll watch him fall. He pointed. Seize him. The last stand guards rushed forward. Yannick stepped out alone. He didn't fight. He didn't run. He just said, stop. The guards paused, not because they feared him, but because he was not afraid. I didn't come to fight, Yannick said. I came to lead them away from fire. Reith laughed. You led them into a trap. Look around. Yannick nodded. I see. Fear, but not in us. One guard, a young alien, looked at Yannick closely. He had heard of the rescue. He had seen Yannick fix tools. He had seen Yannick bleed for others. And suddenly, that guard dropped his weapon. Then another. Then one more. Reith's smile faded. Hope fights back. A noise filled the air. A deep engine hum. From the west, a large machine appeared. Old, rusted, but powerful. A stolen transport vehicle. On top stood Treya. She shouted, now from behind the wall. Rebels hidden in scrap launched smoke bombs. The air turned gray. Chaos erupted. Yannick grabbed Ciala and ran with her and Treya. Guards shouted. Some fired blindly. Others just stood, confused. Rebels charged through the smoke. For the first time, the fear was not theirs. The fire within Yannick reached the surface. Gate. The lock was old, heavy. Get back, he said. He lifted a broken metal bar and slammed it into the latch again and again. His hands bled. His arms shook, but the lock cracked. The gate opened just enough. One by one, rebels squeezed through. Treya turned back. Yannick, come. But he wasn't done. He pulled an injured worker, then another. When he tried to pull a third, a shot hit the ground near him. Her EDH stepped forward again, now furious. You don't win today, human. You just delay. Yannick looked at him calmly. Sometimes a delay is all hope needs. Face to face, Reith pulled out a plasma gun. You walk out now, or you die right here. Yannick stood his ground. Then I'll die standing, not crawling, not chained. Just before Reith fired, something whizzed through the air. A tool hit Reith's hand, hard. He dropped the gun. A young worker had thrown it. Then another threw a wrench. Then someone hit a siren box with a rock. And suddenly, it wasn't just rebels fighting. It was workers. Even guards who doubted the system stepped back. Reith looked around and saw something he didn't understand. Loyalty, born from kindness. He turned to run. But Treya blocked his path. You once laughed at a mother's scream, she said. She didn't strike him. She just let him walk away, beaten not by fists, but by everything he had failed to crush. The gate stays open. The rebels poured out of the garbage sector. They didn't cheer. They didn't shout. They just walked forward into a land they had only heard of. Trees, real air, sunlight. Yannick limped beside Treya, and Ciala looked up at him. You brought us out, she whispered. Yannick smiled. No, we brought each other out. The final choice at that night, in the safety of an old cave. The rebels gathered. Someone asked Yannick, what now? He looked around. We build, not walls, but safety, not orders, but choices. Someone else asked, will they come for us again? Yannick nodded. Double quotes, probably, but this time we won't be alone. When the system rose to crush them, it was not a weapon that saved the people. It was one man's choice to answer a cry, and the courage it gave to everyone who followed. He became their shield. The rebels built their new home beyond the old waste border. They called it Lightroot, a place where no chains were allowed, where every voice was heard. Trees grew tall. Water ran clean. Children played without fear. But they didn't forget. In the center of the camp, they placed a stone. On it were words scratched in many languages. He answered a scream and gave us back our voice. A quiet life begins. Yannick didn't ask to lead, but when something broke, they came to him. When the groups argued, they asked him to listen. When someone was hurt, he was first to carry them. He had no title, but he had everyone's trust. Ciala often walked beside him. Her leg healed slowly, but she never limped when he was near. "You still keep quiet," she said one day. Yannick smiled. "You talk enough for both of us." She laughed. Danger returns months passed. Then, one morning, a drone was found near the camp border. It was broken, but not by age. It had been flying, watching, and it had a symbol burned into its side. Ritz's command. The rebels met that night. "They're coming," Treya said. "They know where we are." Some wanted to run again. Some wanted to hide. But Yannick stood. "We stay. We won't fight to destroy, but we will fight to protect." A shield of choice when the attack came. It was fast. Reith brought soldiers, flying bots, and weapons meant to burn forests. But this time, the rebels were ready. They didn't hide. They didn't scatter. They stood beside each other. And at the front of the camp, Yannick stood alone, holding no weapon, only a shield made from scrap metal. He called out to Reith, "You wanted me to be quiet, to stay in the dirt. But now you hear me without a word." Reith shouted, "You are nothing." Yannick stepped forward. "Then why are you so afraid of nothing?" The battle of the border fire rained down, but the rebels pushed back. They used old tech to block signals. They hacked the bots. They disabled engines. Some were hurt. A few were lost. But they didn't break, because they had something Reith's army didn't. They believed in each other. In the final hour, when Reith tried to flee, Yannick stood in his path. They didn't fight. They just looked at each other. Or ETH saw a dirty, wounded human. But behind him stood hundreds, free because of him. Reith dropped his weapon. And walked into the forest, never to be seen again. The next daylight remained. Fires were put out. Wounds were clean. Psalms were sung. Sia painted a new sign. It showed a man with a shield made from broken trash. Above him, the words, "He didn't save us with power. He saved us by refusing to leave us behind." Yannick's final words in time. Yannick grew old. His hands stayed rough. His walk slow. But children still came to sit beside him and ask, "Why did you go into the garbage that day?" He always answered, "The same, because someone called out, and the world needs more people who answer." Years later, when Yannick passed away, they didn't build a statue. They planted a tree under it. A small stone read, "He became our shield, because once he didn't walk away." And the forest grew strong around that place. Because kindness takes root, and courage lives longer than flesh. He never asked for glory. He just heard a cry and moved toward it. And by doing that, he taught an entire world how to stand.